When Justin Madubuike missed the first practice leading up to the Ravens' clash with the Detroit Lions, nobody really hit the panic button. At first glance, it looked like just a precautionary move, a neck issue, sure, but considering how brutal that matchup with the Browns was, it made sense. That game was a war in the trenches, and sometimes players need a few days to recover from that level of physicality. But then came the second missed practice, and the third, and the fourth. That's when things started to feel off. Something wasn't adding up. When John Harbaugh finally addressed the situation on Saturday, the tone said it all. There was no usual Harbaugh optimism, no reassurances that it was just a minor setback or that Madubuike would be back in no time. Instead, we got vague details, lots of uncertainty, and words that no fan wants to hear. More tests, symptoms, no specific timeline. Harbaugh made it clear, they still don't fully know what's going on, and until they do, Madubuike is out. And when Harbaugh doesn't even attempt to downplay an injury, that's when you know it's serious. The fact that nothing visible happened during the game only adds to the worry. It wasn't like Madubuike went down after a big hit or had to be helped off the field. He finished that game. He looked fine. And now, suddenly, he's not even in the lineup and the team is scrambling to understand what's really going on? That's concerning on a whole different level. Look, when it comes to the Ravens' defense, there are a handful of players that are simply irreplaceable, and Madubuike is at the top of that list. He's been dominant, disruptive, and has grown into one of the most valuable pieces on that front seven. If he's sidelined for any extended period of time, it changes the entire dynamic of the defense. And if the worst-case scenario comes to pass, if this turns into a long-term or even season-ending issue, then we're talking about a potential turning point for Baltimore's campaign. When Harbaugh was asked if this was the kind of injury that might lead to injured reserve, he couldn't even give a straight answer. Not because he was being evasive, but because he genuinely didn't know. And that's what makes all of this even more unsettling. The lack of clarity, the lack of direction. It's not just about whether Madubuike will play this week or next. It's about whether he'll be back at all. And if so, when? The last time we saw this kind of uncertainty from Harbaugh about a star player was with Lamar Jackson. And we all remember how that played out. Lamar never returned that season. So, for fans hoping this is just a precaution or a minor issue, history is not exactly on your side. Right now, this whole thing feels like a ticking time bomb. Now, while that situation continues to develop behind the scenes, there's another player at the center of a much different kind of mystery, Keaton Mitchell. For 2 straight weeks, he's been inactive on game day, and it's got a lot of fans scratching their heads. This is a guy with explosive speed, a game breaker in the open field. Someone who was hyped up as a difference maker the minute he was eligible to return. So what gives? Harbaugh addressed that too. He said there simply isn't a roster spot right now. That's it. Nothing about performance, nothing about health. Just a numbers game. He even admitted that it's a good problem to have. The idea being that the Ravens are so stacked offensively that someone like Keaton Mitchell has to sit. And on some level, it makes sense. Rashad Ali has been a solid contributor on special teams, and Justice Hill, while not spectacular, brings consistency and familiarity to the offense. But here's the thing. Justice Hill hasn't exactly set the world on fire through the first couple games. He's been okay, but far from irreplaceable. So naturally, the fan base is wondering, what if Mitchell got those carries instead? What if he just got a few touches per game? It's not even about turning him into the feature back. It's just about giving him a chance to show what he can do, especially in an offense that's been thriving without him. And let's not overlook that. The Ravens put up over 40 points in each of the last 2 games. That's without Mitchell, without Isaiah Likely, without Pat Ricard getting touches. The offensive line has had its struggles, and yet the scoreboard keeps lighting up. So from Harbaugh's perspective, it's hard to argue with the results. When your offense is rolling like that, why shake things up? Still, it's a delicate situation. Fans want to see Mitchell because of the potential, because of what he represents. He's that spark plug, the kind of player who only needs one touch to change the momentum of a game. And in a league where playmakers are everything, sitting him feels like a missed opportunity. But again, this coaching staff is operating from a position of strength. They're winning. They're scoring. They're finding ways to beat good teams without having to tap into all their offensive weapons. That gives them the luxury to be cautious. And maybe that's exactly what they're doing. Easing Mitchell back, making sure he's fully ready, not rushing anything. especially after the recent injury history with guys like J.K. Dobbins and David Ohabo. That might not be what fans want to hear, but it's a logical move if the team's end goal is longevity, not just short-term fireworks. As we wait to see how those two stories, Madubuike's injury and Mitchell's usage, play out, the Ravens are gearing up for a massive showdown. Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. It's a game that's got serious implications, not just for standings, but for identity. Baltimore is coming off 2 high-scoring wins, and now they get a chance to prove that wasn't a fluke. That they can do it against one of the hottest teams in the league. The Lions are no joke. They've got a physical defense, an aggressive offense, and they've been building something real over the last 2 seasons. They're a legit contender, and if the Ravens want to be seen in that same light, they need to take care of business in prime time. This isn't just about another win. It's about making a statement. About showing the rest of the league that Baltimore isn't just beating up on weak opponents. They can go toe-to-toe with the best and come out on top. But it's not going to be easy. The Ravens need to start fast. No more slow starts. No more waiting until the second quarter to wake up. If they want to control this game, it has to happen from the first snap. The offense needs rhythm. The defense, especially without Madubuike, needs to be disciplined, physical, and creative. And most of all, they need to close. Because this Detroit team knows how to finish. If you leave the door open for them, they'll run right through it. And while Monday Night Football is always a big stage, this game feels even bigger because of what's coming next. The Ravens are staring down a brutal stretch in their schedule, and after the Lions, it only gets tougher. They've got the Chiefs coming up, a team that's been a thorn in Baltimore's side for years. Regular season, playoffs, it hasn't mattered. Kansas City just seems to always find a way. And that's why beating Detroit isn't just about improving the record. It's about building the confidence and momentum needed to face teams like the Chiefs and not blink. Everyone remembers the last time the Ravens managed to take down Patrick Mahomes. That win in 2021 took absolutely everything, every ounce of effort, every big play, and even a little luck. It was emotional. It was dramatic. But since then, it's been back to the same old story. Close games that slip away in the final minutes. Heartbreaks that leave a bitter taste. Baltimore has come close, but close doesn't count anymore. If they want to get over that hump, they need to prove that they can consistently beat the best. And to do that, you start by winning the games in front of you, like tonight. But again, the biggest obstacle might not be the Lions. It might be the Ravens themselves. This team, when it's clicking, looks like a true Super Bowl contender. But when they let little things pile up, miscommunication, penalties, blown coverages, that's when they let teams hang around. And against good teams, that's how you lose. That's how leads disappear. That's how momentum flips. So tonight isn't just about talent. It's about discipline, focus, and execution. Now, shifting back to injuries for a moment, the ripple effect of Madubuike's absence can't be overstated. He's not just a guy who gets sacks. He creates chaos up front. He forces offenses to adjust. Without him, offenses can run their protection schemes a little more comfortably. They can double-team other guys without paying for it. And for a defense that thrives on pressure and disruption, that's a problem. Of course, it's not all doom and gloom. The Ravens still have depth on the defensive line. They've got guys who can step up. But the difference between holding it down and dominating is massive. And Madubuike has been a dominator. If he's out for multiple weeks or more, the pressure shifts onto other guys like Travis Jones, Broderick Washington, and even the edge guys like Odafe Oweh or David Ohabo, assuming they're healthy. Those guys will have to play bigger roles, and they'll have to play them well. There's no room for drop-offs. And it's not just about physical ability, it's about presence. When Madubuike is on the field, quarterbacks feel him, even when he doesn't get home. Running backs second-guess the gaps they want to hit. Offensive lines have to slide protection and send help. That kind of player changes the game on every snap, and you can't just manufacture that. You either have it or you don't. So the coaching staff will need to get creative. Whether it's dialing up blitz packages, rotating guys more, or leaning harder on the secondary, adjustments will be key. Now, about Keaton Mitchell again, because this story isn't going away anytime soon. The more the Ravens' offense scores without him, the more complex the situation becomes. On the one hand, the coaching staff can argue they don't need to shake things up. The scoreboard supports that. But on the other hand, when you have a weapon sitting on the shelf, one who's healthy, explosive, and ready to contribute. How long do you keep him inactive? This isn't just about giving fans what they want. It's about maximizing every inch of potential on the roster. And with Keaton Mitchell, we're talking about a player who could easily be one of the most dangerous playmakers on this team if given the chance. And it's not like he needs 20 touches a game. He just needs a few. Let him get in space. Let him show what he can do. Sometimes, a single play from a guy like that can swing the momentum of an entire game. There's also the concern about keeping him mentally engaged. When a young player is healthy but not playing, it can get frustrating. Confidence can dip. Energy can drop. And eventually, that frustration starts to show, even if the team is winning. That's something the Ravens will need to manage carefully, especially because Mitchell doesn't come across as the type to complain publicly or stir things up. But internal frustration is real, and it matters. Now, one of the more under-discussed angles here is how this all ties into the offensive line situation. Because let's be real, as exciting as the Ravens' offense has looked, it's had its flaws. And most of those flaws start up front. Lamar Jackson has been doing his usual magic, escaping pressure, making things happen on the fly, but that's not a sustainable model for success. You can't ask your quarterback to be Superman every week just to make up for blocking issues. There's been talk about whether the Ravens should consider making a move at guard before the trade deadline or whether they should wait for someone like Andrew Voorhees or Emory Jones to step up. But both of those options come with risks. Making a trade costs capital, draft picks, sometimes players. Waiting on rookies or injured players is a gamble on development and health. And in the meantime, you're potentially putting your franchise quarterback in harm's way. Look no further than Joe Burrow's situation in Cincinnati. Another young, elite quarterback with an O-line that couldn't protect him, and now he's dealing with a significant injury. Turf toe might not sound like a big deal to the average fan, but it's serious. Some players have never fully recovered from it. Deion Sanders, one of the most athletic players the game has ever seen, had his career derailed by it. And for a quarterback, even a pocket passer, your base, your feet, your balance, it all starts there. If you can't plant, you can't throw. If you can't escape, you're a sitting duck. That's the fear with Lamar. He's not just a passer. He's a runner, a scrambler, a creator. Take away his ability to move, and you take away half his game. That's why protecting him is priority number one. And while the Ravens coaching staff may point to the 40-point games as evidence that the offensive line is holding up fine, those of us watching every snap know better. The line has been shaky. The stats don't tell the full story. Lamar is making it work, but that doesn't mean it's working. And that brings us back to the front office. Eric DeCosta has built one of the most talented rosters in the league, no doubt about that. But the next few weeks, how he handles injuries, whether he makes a trade, how the depth holds up, that's where the real test begins. Drafting well is one thing. Managing in real time is another. The Ravens are in the thick of it now. Every decision matters. Every roster move has consequences. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers that could shake the very foundation of the league. Tyreek Hill, the electric wide receiver known for his jaw-dropping speed and game-changing plays, may be heading to Baltimore. Sources close to the situation are staying tight-lipped, but fans and insiders alike are already imagining Hill donning the purple and black of the Ravens. The mere thought has sent a ripple of excitement through Baltimore, where the Ravens fanbase is already picturing highlight reels that could redefine the franchise's offensive potential. Hill's arrival, if confirmed, would represent a seismic shift for the Ravens' offense. Known for his ability to turn a short pass into a touchdown in the blink of an eye, Hill would instantly become the centerpiece of Baltimore's passing attack. Quarterbacks and coaches are reportedly thrilled at the prospect, envisioning schemes designed specifically to maximize his unparalleled speed and agility. The Ravens, long celebrated for their defensive dominance, could finally pair that with an offense capable of striking fear into any opponent. The streets of Baltimore are already abuzz with speculation. Local sports bars and online forums are exploding with debates over how Hill would fit alongside the team's current roster. Some suggest that his presence could transform the Ravens into serious Super Bowl contenders overnight, while others caution that chemistry and strategy must align perfectly to harness his talents. Regardless, excitement is palpable, and even casual fans are finding themselves swept up in the frenzy. While nothing is official yet, insiders hint that negotiations have been quietly progressing behind closed doors. If Hill's signing is confirmed, the Ravens will not only gain a superstar receiver, but also a media magnet whose presence guarantees headlines and viral highlights. For now, the city waits with bated breath, aware that the next few weeks could bring one of the most electrifying additions to the NFL in recent memory. Baltimore is poised to celebrate, or perhaps scream in disbelief, if Tyreek Hill truly makes the move. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.